Good evening, team. So I figured out bring out the market breakdown video for the upcoming week a bit earlier today, a bit earlier rather, because I have some free time. So we have roughly 6 currency pairs that we will be looking at, and the first pair we're looking at is gold. So this is a daily chart. As you can see, the price recently broke through this. Broke through this resistance zone and has proceeded to form a head and shoulders pattern. It has already begun a move to the downside. So what I'm hoping for is a continuation, possibly breaching this support zone, and with our final take profit around this zone. But our first take profit, or our first hurdle to go through, is this support zone here. So our first profit targets will be set for this support zone, and then if price manages to break through this support zone, hopefully it will retest and turn it into a resistance zone, then give us more moves to the downside. Our next, or actually before we move on, let's go to the 4-hour chart as well. You can see here that we have an ascending trend line, and price recently broke through the trend line and has proceeded to retest the trend line. So I am expecting a move to the downside. So now we have 2 time frame confluences. So I am looking forward to this trade. So this will be our first profit target. Then if we manage to breach this support zone, we will take 4 profits around this support zone here, which is close to the beginning of the trend line. So our next currency pair is EUR/USD. It's this one right here. So we are looking at the daily chart. Okay. So as you can see, price has been in a descending channel and has recently touched or bounced off the bottom trend line of this channel, and our last candle close was bullish. So what I'm expecting is that I'm hoping price bounces off here like it did and begins a move to the upside with this resistance zone, our first hurdle rather, with this resistance zone being our first hurdle. So as you can see, I've also drawn a trend line there. So if you manage to breach this trend line, I'll be looking for something like this, some sort of trend line retest, then hopefully a bigger move to the outside, where we'll hopefully take 4 profits here at this zone, which is the beginning of the trend line. But our first hurdle will be this resistance zone, so our first take profits will be set around this resistance zone here. So that's EUR/USD, and our trade bias is long. So our next currency pair is going to be EUR Japanese yen. We also looking to long this one. It's quite a similar setup. It's just that then this one is a bit far, or rather is a bit ahead when compared to EUR/USD. Okay, so this is EUR Japanese yen. We also have a descending channel for this one, as you can see right here. We actually have a structure within a structure. So this is the bigger descending channel, then you have a smaller descending channel here. So price has recently bounced off this the bigger and the smaller descending channels, and began a move to the upside. It has now pulled back a bit and has closed bearish yet again. So what I'm expecting to happen is a bigger move to the upside, breaking this top trend line for this small descending channel, giving us some sort of retest, then giving us a bigger move to the upside, hopefully reaching this top trend line here for the bigger descending channel structure. We also have a fib retracement confluence. So I'm not expecting any drawback from where price currently is. I'm expecting some bullish momentum, which will hopefully break this descending trend line and give us a bigger move to the top trend line for the bigger structure. So our next currency pair that we'll be looking at is KJ. Okay, there we go. So for KJPY we are looking at the 4-hour chart, but it's the same thing with the daily chart, but the 4-hour chart is a bit clearer. Okay, so as you can see here, we have yet again a descending channel, and you can see you to have one touch, two touch here, and a third touch there. So price bounced off this zone, began to move to the upside. Bearish momentum wasn't enough, so the buyers took over a bit, and we have now bounced off this trend line yet again. So I am now expecting a bigger move to the downside, hopefully reaching or coming close to the bottom trend line, with our first take profit set around this accumulation zone here. If we manage to breach this zone, we will then look for another entry which will take us down to this zone here, where we will take full profits. So for KJPY, we will be looking to short KJPY with our descending channel. We now move on to Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. Okay, there we go. Here we are looking at the daily chart. Okay, so let me just zoom out a bit so we can see properly. Okay, so yet again we have a descending trend line, and you can see price has actually we have a descending channel, which is a bigger structure. Then we have a smaller structure, which is another descending channel, and inside that descending channel we have a small ascending trend line. So when looking at the smaller structure, or rather smaller descending trend line, you can see that price has recently bounced off this bottom trend line here and has begun a move to the upside, thus forming this small ascending channel. So what I'm expecting price to do now is to bounce off this bottom trend line here and give us a bigger move to the upside. But our first profit targets will be set around this zone here, the top trend line for the small channel. And if we manage to breach this top trend line, we will then look for opportunities which will give us momentum to reach these highs, which is right close to the trend line, the top trend line for the bigger structure. But our first profit targets will be around here, so just from here to here. And then if we manage to breach this descending trend line, we will then hopefully look for more long positions to the upside. And then our final setup for the upcoming week is NAS 100. We're also looking at the daily chart for this one. Okay. So you also have an ascending channel here. You can see that price has been in an ascending channel. You can see that price has been in an ascending channel, and this zone here has served as resistance for quite a lot of times. You can see here, here, and here, and it has now formed a head and shoulders pattern and a small ascending channel. So what I'm expecting price to do now is to give us a move to the downside, with our first profit target set around this zone here, or even the beginning of the small channel here. But I believe that we'll have enough bearish pressure to give us at least a move to this zone here. And if we manage to breach this zone here, we'll then look for more short positions, which will push us to the bottom trend line of this channel here. Yeah, that's it. And let us also go through trades that we took into the weekend. So we have, actually before we go there, I also have a forecast for US dollar South African rand, but it's not, still have quite a long way to go. Well, it depends actually. As you can see here, that price has had some bearish momentum, actually bullish momentum to the upside. I had recently caught this move to the downside here, but now price has now rejected and went to the upside yet again. But if you look at where price currently is, comparing it to this week here, you can see that this was a prime reversal hotspot previously, and we also have a fib reversal confluence. So it's possible that price might reject around here where it currently is. Even if it doesn't though, it hopefully will reject at this resistance zone here, as you can see that it has done that here. So when the markets open, we'll see what happens. If we see signs of rejection, we'll possibly be in a position to short USD ZAR to the bottom of this trend line, to the bottom of this ascending trend line. Okay, let's move on to the pairs that we were looking, or rather to the currency pairs that we took into the weekend. Okay, this thing is giving me trouble now. Let's see, what can we do? We can, okay, let's wait for this thing to load. So the currency pairs we took into the weekend were USD JPY, British pound, New Zealand dollar, Euro New Zealand dollar, and we are also looking at EUR Norwegian kroner. I know that Swiss franc JPY we got stopped out, because it was rallying. 1 minute we had a buy opportunity, the next we had a sell opportunity. So it was a bit confusing, but you can't win them all. Let me just close this thing and reopen it. Okay, let's do it like this. Just bear with me. Let's see if you can get it to run. Okay. Let's see if we can get to the charts before my machine crashes. Just bear with me. There we go. So I'll be just clicking through the trades we also took GBP USD. We shorted that one. I'll be just clicking through the trades we took just to see how far along they are and to see our profit targets, and hopefully they will continue to go in our direction and we'll be able to bag some profits. Let's see if this thing still has some strength to take us through the whole of this market breakdown video for the upcoming week. Okay. Let's see if we have any luck. If not, I will have to end the video, and what I would do is I will type out or try and find some time to type out all of the trades we took, outlining how far we are from our take profits. And the take profits I have already sent might differ from the ones we'll be seeing here, because I was analyzing using my phone, and it's quite a different experience when you're comparing it to using a computer. So this is the first trade this is one of the trades we took, GBP USD. You can see that we have a descending trend line, and price had bounced off here on the third touch and it began a move to the downside. We were almost by our take profit zone here, close to the bottom of the trend line. If you go to the 4-hour chart, we have a head and shoulders pattern there. We have a head and shoulders pattern and a trend line break and retest, which also gives us a confluence. Let's just go there and see. Okay, there you go. So you can see it's not very clear but hopefully it's clear enough. You can see I have an ascending trend line. Price broke through and attempted to complete a small retest here, and then continue the move to the downside. If we are able to breach this zone, we look for more short opportunities, so we can take full profits here at the bottom. But for now, this is quite a good trade. You can see the head and shoulders pattern right there. The next trade we took last week was okay. Oh no. CHFJPY, we got stopped out for that one. It's looking like a buy. It's looking like a buy. And it was quite confusing because I was analyzing from a phone, but as soon as I jumped on my computer, you could see that yeah, it was a clear buy. And the other problem was that it was rallying a lot. So as you can see here, let me just delete this. As you can see, have a descending trend line. Price had bounced off here, began to move to the upside, and this support zone, or rather broke this trend line and is now roaming around this support zone with the last candle close being bullish. So I'm expecting a bigger move to the upside, but we will let this one be because it's not that big of a swing. But it's fine. We have plenty more opportunities. We also had EN. This one should be in profits. We also have an ascending trend line here, as you can see. Price had bounced off this top trend line and began a move to the upside. So I'm hoping we reach this bottom trend line, but our first profit targets will be around this zone here. If we manage to breach this zone, we'll then look for more short opportunities to the downside. Then our next trade, the next trade we took was GBPNZD. This one turned out beautifully. We are in beautiful profits and we have strong bearish momentum. As you can see, no drawback, no nothing, no green candle in sight. You can see that there's a bigger structure, which is our ascending trend line, but you can see where price turned, and here it had turned before here, so it formed a double top and then began a move to the downside. So our first profit target should be around this zone here, and if we manage to breach this zone, we'll then look for more short opportunities to the downside. I think those were all the trades we took. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I've also taken you guys through the USD possible trade. Yeah, I think that will be all for now. I'll come back on Wednesday with the midweek market breakdown video to detail the trades we took on Monday and Tuesday, and the trades that we took last week, if they've hit take profit as yet or if we are still holding. That will be it for now. Thank you for tuning in.